I'd like to call the Merrimack School District SAU 26 School Board meeting for September 12, 2022. Could we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. Well, I want to welcome back our student representative. Caitlin has been with us this last year. She's been an awesome representative to the student body. I hope you had a great summer. Glad to have you back.
I definitely did, and thank you so much.
We always like having a student representative to share with us the student perspective on a lot of issues, but also to keep us up to date on important items, especially as parents, things like prom and homecoming and very important events, fundraisers and those kinds of things. So our student representative is always a valuable asset here on the board. All right, we are going to start with public participation. If you would like to come forward and speak, we just ask that you state your name and your address. If you are a student, you don't need to state your name. You can just say that you are a student, and we will open it up.
Great. Good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Rosemary Rung. I'm at 21 Ministerial Drive in Merrimack. And I just want to, my friend Nancy Murphy's coming, but we just wanted to inform the board that we held an event on August 20th called Community for Classrooms. And it was an effort to show the Merrimack schools how much the community supports them. So we used that occasion to collect school supplies. And it was a phenomenal experience. I want to really thank Mrs. Kate Merva from Reed's Ferry School because she helped collect the supply list that we needed. We had a tremendous turnout. Over like close to 6,000 items were dropped off. We also had cash donations, which we converted to Amazon gift cards and made available to the offices for those items that teachers, aren't common, but they would still appreciate. And I want to thank the Wheeler Chapel because they let us use their frontage on Daniel Webster Highway. But it was a great event, and I hope the school board and all the faculty and staff of the Merrimack School Districts realizes how much support they have in the community. So I think Nancy's just going to spend a couple minutes, not even that, but just to run down some of the specifics of what we collected.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, forgot my papers in the car. Nancy Murphy, 20 Brenda Lane. As Rosemary probably gave you a Reader's Digest version of our event planning and the school drive, we collected, 5,815 school supply items, excuse me, including 805 pencils, 297 glue sticks, 604 markers, multiple backpacks, $380 in cash for Amazon gift cards for teachers, and many other items. We'd like to thank many Merrimack residents and businesses who supported our efforts and went out of their way to drop off cash and check donations, as well as student and classroom supplies, including Lobster Boat, John Thistle and Janet Johnston for their donations and support, and the King's Daughter Benevolent Association, which is a charitable organization that supports projects that benefit area children. They made a sizable and extremely generous donation. And Carosa Eye Care for their very generous monetary donation too, which was used to purchase Amazon gift cards. There were too many residents to thank individually, but Kathy Albert, Jennifer Jobin, and Francis Donahue, who helped me man the tent that Peter Albert so graciously brought and set up, and Kevin Donahue for helping to pack up and transport everything so it could be dispersed later. Thank you too to Kathy McBride and Erica Christie for helping us sort and bag the items for each of Merrimack's 6 public schools. So I'll let Rosemary finish up.
No, it was a great event, great turnout. Our plan is to do this annually, so look forward to it again next summer. But thank you.
Hello, Rachel Papke, 67 Tinker Road. I first wanted to start out and thank all of our teachers, our staff, our administrators, and all of you guys for a great start to the school year. I know that my family and myself, it's just been such a great start. So really kudos to all the teachers and staff and everyone else. And second, I want to give a couple of shout outs for some of our projects that have been going on over the summer. First is to Laura's World organization and all of the partnerships that they've done for the high school concession stands. Everything that I'm seeing, it sounds like there's going to be a grand opening soon, so that's really exciting to see. And the other one is a project near and dear to my heart. It was the Thorntons Ferry School Playground Fund, and just wanted to again thank so many people. Our list too was extensive on how many donors that we had, but to in short, it goes to all of the gratitude and thanks go to past and current Thorntons Ferry families, the staff, lots of staff across the district too. There were many small businesses locally that donated, as well as other charitable organizations, and of course, so many Merrimack community members. So just wanted to give a thank you. We did a grand opening last Thursday. It was amazing, and the playground is now ready for use. So thank you.
We are at recognitions. First of all, Rosemary and Nancy, a big thank you to you for your efforts for the school supply drive. Every little bit of community support helps, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and the families of students of Merrimack appreciate it. So thank you very much. Also want to just recognize Sue Sheraton, who was a longtime Merrimack cheerleading coach in the 1980s and 1990s. She was just awarded the Carol, who is it,
DeBreezen.
DeBreezen Advancement of Girls Sports Award, and a very, very deserving recipient. So we congratulate Sue for her outstanding service to the students of Merrimack over the years, and her outstanding service to athletics, and particularly advancement of female athletics. And so we're very, very proud. We have a special recognition tonight also. We have a young man in our audience, happens to be the son of Mr. and Mrs. Pappy. Rachel is just at the microphone, and I'm going to have Jack come up so they can present him with a gift, not a gift certificate, but a certificate, please. Jack was involved in the regional 2022 Major League Baseball Red Sox pitch hit run team championship at Fenway Park. And he finished first. And so we want to congratulate him for his outstanding achievement. Now, Jack, I understand you might be going on to another competition. Is that correct? So Mom and Dad, if you want to come up also.
Yeah, we're just gonna come right here so we can get you on the camera, so everybody in the whole town can. Okay. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jack. We want to present you with this certificate of recognition for your first place finish in Major League Baseball Red Sox pitch hit run team championship at Fenway Park. An outstanding job. Congratulations. What was your favorite part of the competition? That's on.
Just walking into Fenway Park and getting on the field.
Yeah, was that your first time on the field?
Yep.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience.
Mhm.
Right. Well, Mom and Dad, you have reason to be very proud. Okay, you did a great job. So another hand for you, Jack.
So I just have a couple things to say under recognitions also. for the Thorntons Ferry Playground Committee, to the principal, Julie DeLuca, the chair people, Rachel Packey and Kim Damaris. They raised $122,000 to create a new playground at Thorntons Ferry. The dedication was a wonderful event. It was really well attended and just so much spirit in that little school community. So we're very grateful. I'd also personally like to thank Rosemary Rung and Nancy Murphy for the school drive. You did a great job, and we're always grateful and appreciative. It really helps so many children. And then finally to Sue Sheridan, who I had the opportunity to work with to receive the NHIA Award. It's one of the highest awards for her dedication to advancing girls in sports. And it was a great ceremony this morning at the NHIA, so congratulations to Sue Sheridan.
All right, moving on to informational updates. Superintendent update.
Thank you. I will echo what Rachel had to say. We had a wonderful opening. Everything seemed to go very smoothly, and I want to thank all the leadership team and our entire staff for the extensive amount of planning that they did. Many teachers came in and set up classrooms with beautiful, beautiful displays that really open up the eyes of a child in terms of their enthusiasm, and they're inspiring in terms of the visual impact that their classroom setups have. So I want to thank them for all the work. We've already said thanks to the community and to Matt Chevenel and others on the TFS playground. The new concession stand that was funded through fundraising through Laura's World Fund is being dedicated and opened this Friday. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony Friday, September 16th at 5:30 at the field. Proud to say that I did buy a brick and see if I can find it somewhere there. But I don't know if you've seen a picture of it or seen what it looks like. It looks just magnificent. And so once again, what I've come to realize is the pride that Merrimack takes in community events, but particularly school events, and taking care of our students and our staff. And I have to say to everyone how much that is truly appreciated, because it's all part of a strong, supportive, constructive culture. And it doesn't happen everywhere, but it does happen in Merrimack. And I have to tell you how appreciative we all are of it. Last week, or last meeting, I shall say, Amy did an outstanding presentation of our SAS scores. Now, we all understand that is one benchmark set of criteria and evaluative criteria, but it's an important one. And quite honestly, we have room to improve in those scores. And so Amy and I have been in touch with the members of the leadership team. We're going to meet with the staff in each building, and we're going to have a listening session in terms of here's where we are with our scores. We know and we are all committed to improving and raising those scores with the understanding that the latest scores came from a very difficult year with COVID, but there is room for improvement. So didn't everyone else's scores come from a difficult year of COVID. So we want to join with the staff and work together in terms of staffing. We have a quality staff here. We want to understand what programs, what quality, vetted, research-based programs that we may need to implement, or if we need to enhance current programs, what professional development we need to engage in to help our staff in terms of levels of proficiency with new programs, because they're an excellent staff, and how do we continue to infuse technology into the instructional process. So this is going to be a joint effort. This is not going to be a top-down, here's what you have to do. Because if I want to know how to improve a school district, I'm going to ask the people who are educating our students, because they know what the strengths are And I also understand that they know what the needs of students are. So we're gonna listen to them, they'll listen to us, and we're gonna come up with some solutions to make sure that we can bring to you some scores that I think are more representative of Merrimack in the not too distant future. Okay, and that is it for tonight.
Thank you so much. I think that is where we all are as a community. We want to come together and work together for our students to do their best and to really shine, because we know they can.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
All right, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum update.
I'm going to echo some of what Bill and Lori both talked about. We have had a great beginning of the school year. You can really tell that routines and schedules are coming together. And we really appreciate partnering with families as well as the community to bring 6 busy school buildings back out online and the day-to-day activities throughout the towns. We had a great professional learning day on Friday, September 2nd, and I'll talk more about professional development under new business, but I just wanted to highlight 2 members of the community that really helped during those sessions. We had Detective Bill Vanderside from the Merrimack Police Department that came and facilitated a very sensitive training. He focused on active shooter drills and the things that staff can do to prepare or to keep themselves, managing those very, very challenging situations. And then we also had Dan Newman from the fire department who came and did some additional work with our staff during that training. So I just want to thank them and let both the police and fire department know how much we appreciate partnering with them to keep our students safe as well as the community. I have had lots of thoughtful feedback regarding the presentation from the New Hampshire SAS data. I've talked to parents and families, teachers, staff, other administrators, other people from other districts have reached out. So it's just an interesting time for all of us, and it's been wonderful to hear the sense of urgency and the commitment that everyone is having around, here's where we are and here's where we'd like to be and how will we get there. As Bill mentioned, we have some, plans to meet with building staff, but just to follow up on a couple of specific things that board members asked the last time, we really are looking at a cohesive set of action plans from the leadership perspective. So looking at professional development, we have something coming up on October 7th that we think, at least at the elementary and middle school level, will help with culture and climate and in encouraging students to be ready and active learners. We're putting together a plan to address the critical need for curriculum revisions. I've been talking about that since I came on board. There's been some great work through the summer, and we'll have a plan moving forward to update our core curriculums of math, English language arts, which includes reading, writing, listening, and speaking, science, social studies. And of course, the UAs will be looking at art and music, physical education, and health. But we really want to focus on the core instruction right out of the gate. Looking at our progress monitoring tools, I think, Jenna, you're on the CIA committee, so we'll be meeting not this Thursday, but next Thursday, creating a couple of task force there. One that really looks at the tools that we're using and are they giving teachers the information that they need. To Bill's point, we know that they are the people that are on the front lines and interfacing with students. We want to be able to have tools that we feel adequately represent what the students need, and then enable the teachers to be able to monitor the effectiveness of their instruction. And then finally, looking at the programs, as Bill mentioned, we do have some piloting happening with our Envisions program. I don't know if I had mentioned that previously, that we have 14 teachers, 2 at every grade level, kindergarten through 6th grade, which are piloting the latest version of Envisions, which is much better aligned to the standards. So we're hoping that those teachers who will become teacher leaders across the district will give us valuable feedback as we look to see if that is going to be at least the right program for next year and then moving forward. So that's all from me.
Thank you. Assistant Superintendent for Business, Matt Chevenel, is excused tonight, so we will move on to the school board update.
So I just have a couple things. We had a conflict tonight with the Conservation Committee, so I've asked the chairman of the town council, Mr. Finley Rothaus, if he would ask the town council that during times that we have like Labor Day, so we have to push our meetings, if we can have priority over this meeting room. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was our school safety. I appreciate that our school opening, that we had a focus on school safety. Part of our summer goals this year, a priority for all of the board was school safety. So I'm really glad that we just start right off doing school safety, active shooting, and protecting our students. So thank you.
And lastly, our student representative update.
So I just want to start off by saying that I'm so happy to be back again this year as the student rep. And I just have a few quick things. Starting that everything that I've heard about the start of the year, it's been smooth sailing for everyone. Obviously, little hiccups here and there, but everyone has had a great start to the year. And then we have a lot of fun things coming up at the high school, including the homecoming dance is on Saturday. Parents and students who are watching, tickets are on sale this week, so get your tickets. And then right after the dance, we have our Spirit Week, including very fun days like Anything But a Backpack, Surfers versus Bikers, Wild West, Adam Sandler Day, and MHS Spirit Day. And at the end of the week with MHS Spirit Day, we're also having a pep rally to get everyone ready and excited for a homecoming game versus BG. And then I am super pleased to announce that the graduating classes of 2019, 2020, 2022, and 2023 collaborated with Laura's World, and we were able to donate an additional $12,000 to the Snack Shack. That was a combined senior gift from all of the classes. So that was hopefully to help it get ready and prepared for the game this Friday, which, according to Mr. Olson, it's ready. So that's really good. And I think that's it. Yeah.
That's fabulous to see those classes come together to contribute to something that was just definitely a need and definitely will make games more fun. All right, moving on to old business. As promised, we have our review of Interim Chief Educational Officer's performance for the 2021-2022 school year.
So in July of this year, during non-public, we met with Mr. Olson to go over and review his employment, and we looked at performance indicators, either unsatisfactory, emerging, proficient, or distinction. The board has given Chief Officer Bill Olson an educational leadership distinguished, and school district culture distinguished, and school management and district goals distinguished. And we're all just going to highlight a little bit, but our district vision has been shared and it continues to be developed. Bill just demonstrates active listening. He's insightful. He's able to recognize emerging problems, and he supports the board in facilitating solutions. We are going to be focusing on graduation rates, and these are things that he's already started to implement. He has created clear, precise communication system. He's transparent. He aligns with our vision and mission. He's increased the professional development opportunities for all of our teachers and staff. Chief Olson has the moral courage to lead the Merrimack School District. He has adopted an open door policy for teachers, staff, parents, and board members to speak honestly about our concerns. He involves all the stakeholders in our educational committee. He has built a culture of trust at our central office. He's a man of character and integrity. He has the work ethic, and he's extremely positive, kind, thoughtful, and always approachable. He will work with the board to continue to create district goals and implement steps to reach those goals. We do have a school building planning and building committee, and all of our school buildings and maintenance projects go through that committee back to this committee, and Bill oversees that. He also is using technology to track and analyze student data. He's committed to using historical data. Again, the school district is completely honest and transparent. This year, he examined the supervision and principal evaluation system, and all principals in the district did a self-evaluation and then an evaluation. He's done considerable research and gave valuable input to collective bargaining agreements and salary scales. Our teachers last year are in the lower part of the scale, and due to his insight and support, we were able to restructure our teachers' contract. Bill has given us achievable action plan with a primary focus on safety, student wellness, and student achievement. We have total faith and trust in Bill Wilson. Anyone else?
Comments from the board?
I mean, I'll just say we're just so grateful that you're here. You spent a lot of years in Westford, and you could have probably retired and done many wonderful things for your own personal enjoyment. But your presence in our district really feels like a gift at this juncture. We're coming out of a really difficult time with a lot of transition, and all of those things that Lori said are so true. And I feel like I learn from your wisdom as we all sit around the table and try to identify where Merrimack is and where we need to go. And your presence at the helm makes me feel like the boat's not rocking. And that is truly a gift. And I want the parents in this district to know we are in very good hands.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'll agree in that it doesn't take much longer than a couple minutes talking with Mr. Ellison when you realize that this guy's the real deal. It's probably a lot of pressure on you that we're saying all these really great things, like you're doing so many wonderful things. And so I apologize for that amount of pressure, but it's also just such a, it's so nice to know that we're in those kinds of capable hands, and to know that somebody who is here who actually cares about what goes on, not just in their office, but in every school classroom here in Merrimack. So it's a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
I don't have anything particularly new and different to add, other than to add my voice to the chorus of that. You're a great leader, and we need a great leader right now, and you're very appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
I will tell you, the moment I was sold that you were the right man for the job was when you said that you would be meeting with every single teacher and staff member of this district. Mm-hmm. And for new hires, not only did you interview them lastly, but you followed up with them. And that is just incredible to me. We are not a small district. We are a sizable district. And that shows your investment in people. And your investment in people is investments in the students. And so I wholeheartedly agree with everything that has been said, but that was the moment I knew you were the right person to be in this seat at this moment.
Well, thank you very much for your kind comments. It's all about people. And it's about establishing a strong, trusting, respectful, supportive, collaborative, inspiring, motivating culture, which we're in the process of continuing to work on. This is a great school system. Please know that I thoroughly enjoy working with all of you. We're not in competition. We work together to make great things happen for students and to make great things happen for staff. One of the things that we will always do is base our decisions on what is in the best interest of the students in this district. I don't make political decisions. I make decisions that allow all of us to go home at the end of the day, look ourselves in the eye in the mirror and say we did the right thing for a child or a group of children. And that's important. And I thoroughly enjoy interviewing the staff who we hire. But as you said, Lori, at the end of the year, sitting down with them to listen to them, to understand what was positive about their first year in Merrimack, but also what suggestions they might have for improving the school system, because their voice is very important, because they're there every day with our students, understanding their strengths and their areas of need. And you have to listen and respect that, listen to and respect that, and we do. And I think that we have one of the finest central office staffs that any school system could have, with Amy and Matt and Melissa in HR, with Heather in special education, and outstanding principals and staff. And so, the trick is to stay connected with people, to let them know that you understand what they're doing and appreciate and respect what they're doing, and will listen to them to understand what the needs are. Now, Amy and I are going to start that shortly in meeting with the staff in their monthly meeting after school, just to let them know that, look, this is a partnership, that the improvement of the school system is not based on what I say or what Amy says, or what we collectively say here. It's based on all of our opinions of what we observe, what we read in terms of research, and what we are able to budget for, because there is a fiscal component to it. And there's where we need to make sure the town understands that we're about honesty, we're about integrity, forthrightness, and a focus on children. And that precedes any request for funds that we may be making to the town, because we want the town to know what they're getting in return, what the return on investment is in terms of student achievement, and how wisely their tax dollars have been expended. And that's very important, because we have students as our customers, but we have taxpayers as our customers also. And that's always important for us to remember. And in closing, I won't continue to talk. It has been a delight working with all of you, because your hearts are in the right place. And that's the important thing. And it's all about our students. And so thank you to you. Thank you to the community. I've had some nice comments from the community. Enjoy meeting with people. Sometimes on the phone, I'll ask them to stop by and have a chat with me and bring their child. If there's an issue with one of their children, I'd like to hear it directly from their child also, because it speaks volumes in terms of what they're truly experiencing. So thank you again. I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and looking forward to another great year with you and all of the staff.
All right, moving on to new business, review of staff professional development.
In your packet, you should have a draft of some of the professional learning activities we have planned for this year. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Just to give you a quick overview, we've had 3 professional learning days already. The first day, as Bill mentioned, classroom teachers were given the opportunity to set up their classroom, prepare it for students. Then there was a building day that was led by the building administration to set out the individual building goals for the school year, as well as to go over schedules or needed information at the building level. September 2nd, we had the safety training that I had already mentioned, but we also had a technology training that was led by our Director of Technology, Jason Pelletier, and his team prepared some activities for the staff around digital learning. So at the elementary level, he led some work on some apps and tools that they might find helpful to enhance student learning in the classroom and beyond, as well as an app that is related to school safety called Go Guardian. And so we're using that across the district. We also, at the middle and high school, they continued their work with Peg Dawson, who's an expert in the field of executive functioning. So that day was very well. I think we got a lot of good feedback about the activities that we had for that day. Coming up on October 7th is our last full day of professional learning, and we are really trying to provide professional learning that is targeted to the goals that the district has put forth, as well as individual building goals. One of the most exciting opportunities that we're bringing is a one-day introduction to responsive classroom. Over the past probably 10 or 12 years, the district has supported classroom teachers going to the 4-day training that is usually held, I think, in northern Massachusetts or in the Concord area. And if you're an elementary teacher, you've heard about Responsive Classroom. It really is a research-based, excellent approach to organizing your classroom management, but it really does enable students to be able to create and follow routines in ways that are meaningful to contribute to their regulation and how you handle things that unfold during the school day. So we do have opportunities for for an introduction course for all classroom teachers from kindergarten through 8th grade. And then we will also bring one advanced training for those teachers. We have enough of those people that have participated in the 4-day training to do an advanced course that's called Responding to Behavior. So we're really excited to bring that to the elementary and middle school. On that date, the high school will be unpacking their NEASC report. There's a lot of really important work that goes into becoming NEASC accredited. So I just want to thank Steve Clare and his team, Jill and Rich. They're going to be really digging into the work that they need to do moving forward for their NEASC accreditation. And then we've got some specialized training for the Title I tutors. Marcia McGill, who you know as the former principal at JMU, she's coming back as the Title I coordinator, and so she's planning some purposeful professional development for her teachers that day. And then we have created a social emotional learning, professional learning team that had their initial meeting on September 2nd, and they will continue some of that work on October 7th. Looking ahead to the rest of the year, we have a couple of early release days in November, January, March, and May. The November early release, we are hoping that our vision of learner work is culminated. Right now, we have Cookson Communication is preparing some visuals and media for us to accompany that work. I have updated that group on where we are, and we're looking forward to that initial product that we can get feedback. And that vision of a learner will really set the pace for our strategic planning that I'll talk a little bit about at a future meeting. Friday, January 13th, we will have our required suicide prevention training. That's going to be facilitated by some professionals from UNH. And then you'll see some days in March and May where we will be looking at curriculum development and seeing where we are. And as I mentioned on the May date, this will help us to do the planning for the summer of 2023 work. The day after the last day of school for students will be a half-day teacher workshop to culminate the activities for the school year.
Any comments from the board?
Yeah, just one. This looks great, and I've heard really good things so far about the workshops. And I'm just coming at it from an arts teacher perspective, where I've sat in many a professional development days learning about things that don't relate to anything I do.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that here, but I like to remind folks who plan professional development days, especially in elementary schools where you might only have one art teacher or one music teacher, and going over how to address reading scores might not affect them as much. So just allowing professional development opportunities for all teachers. And I know one of the things I found most beneficial was collaboration K through 12. Like, we would all get together as a district music team and as a district art team. I found those to be probably the most beneficial professional development days, because we could align curriculum, we could long-term plan. So just, I'm sure it's all on your plate already, but I feel it's my duty to share that.
I really appreciate your feedback, Ken, because on the March and May days, that is the kind of stuff that we're looking at, is vertical alignment, horizontal alignment. I did have the opportunity at the Torchbearer Day to sit with a lot of the new, we called them specialists in my previous district, and we call them Unified Arts here. And they are really excited about coming on board and doing that work. So yes, we'll incorporate that into the days.
I just wanted to say that I'm so grateful to that our district is really committed to responsive classroom, and not just sort of one of those things where you brought everybody in, you got everybody trained, you said, yay, we do responsive classroom, and never was there a revisitation of that. I'm very glad to see that you are making sure that everybody else is getting up to speed and getting trained. I know responsive classroom is really expensive, so the way that you're doing it, I think, is really wise, the one day. And then I love that you're doing the responding to behavior. I was just trained in responsive classroom, which is kind of interesting that this is just happening now, but it was really so powerful to see how it's so it's not difficult to implement, but it's it's a Castle Select program. It's evidence based, and its results are phenomenal for something that is really as teachers start to use it. It's easy to use but high impact. So I'm really grateful that our district is already using it and is continuing to invest in our teachers to grow their skills at Responsive Classroom.
I agree. I've done a lot of responsive classroom training, both as a teacher, as an administrator. And this is really growing out of the MTSSB work that our Director of Student Wellness, Fern Seiden, is spearheading. And one of our Tier 1 goals is to have something really solid at the elementary, middle, and high school. And responsive classroom, you just can't get any better than that. So we're really excited about the 1 day, which will hopefully lead to teachers wanting to do the 4-day training, and then building that culture around using responsive classroom. I think long-term will really help engage students and allow them to be more available for learning.
May I just say, Lori, also, and Lori, that I want to thank all of you also, because if you recall correctly, before we began the construction of the 2022-2023 budget, one of your very important priorities was social emotional learning, and thank you for your support.
And Amy, you weren't here for this, but the last few years, the school board also wanted to see that we had either faculty meetings or other professional develops on the laws on mandatory reporting and teachers' obligation to be mandatory reporters. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was also going to add, kind of along the lines of the space that you've given, is the Nhia work for MHS. Steve Clare gave the preliminary report, and I don't think anyone has any idea the work that goes into that NEASC accreditation. I'm the co-chair of it at our school. We just had our foundational meeting training because our visit is in the spring, and to know that they have that day carved out to work on that versus having to do it during, they still have to do it during the week, but to have that dedicated, undistracted day to really unpack and work on that is critical for them. And I'm so glad to see that on the schedule. All right, moving on to the approval of the Mesa Memo of Understanding.
Thank you. We are having trouble filling support positions that are covered under the Mesa agreement. That's teacher assistants, custodians, maintenance staff, etc. We have needed to do something to be more competitive. We lost a considerable number of prospective employees during the summer because they went elsewhere for higher salary. And so we've negotiated an agreement that is just for this year to offer a $1,000 payment to the Mesa members, plus a $500 signing bonus if they are able to bring qualified employees to our district and they are employed for at least 90 days. There's a maximum of 2 signing bonuses per year. And that is in return also for allowing us to hire staff at any step on the existing salary scale, which is extraordinarily important because the people we lost during the summer were experienced people with excellent skills, but they wanted to be paid commensurate with their experience and their contributions in their respective school districts. We couldn't be competitive, and so they left, and before even considering us seriously, and took a job elsewhere. So other school districts have had to do something similar to us, sometimes of a greater magnitude, but I think this is fair. I think this will greatly improve our ability to attract and retain qualified support personnel, and so I'm asking for your support for it.
So I will entertain a motion to move forward with the Memo of Understanding with Mesa.
Yes, I will motion. I will make that motion.
Seconded by Lori. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 500.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other new business?
First thing is, I wanted to have a discussion about closing the schools on Election Day. I know that we're going to put an ad hoc safety committee together after we do a full safety study, but I think that in the past, because we opened schools so late, that we just kept the schools open on Election Day. But I think that we could always start school a day earlier so we can close the schools on Election Day, because I just don't like the idea of 2,000 people entering our school, even though there's police and security. It just seems to me that it would be something that we want to consider.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I have 3 kids in this school district, and every year I wonder why we are letting every wonderful person in our community who are probably very safe, but you never know, into the building while our kids are there. In this day and age, that doesn't seem wise. And I am certainly open to having a conversation because anybody can walk in our schools on those days. And you know, I know that our administration does a fantastic job of making sure, you know, it's cordoned off or whatever. And our police are absolutely dedicated to keeping our schools safe. But we don't need to take unnecessary risks. And if we can build that day, and that would be, I would be interested in talking about that.
And I would say that we'd have to build in 2 because of primary. We don't know when we make the calendar if there's going to be a primary. We do have a primary tomorrow. And so we would always want to make sure that we're budgeting in for 2 of those days. Well, actually, 3 if you count town election. So it's 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So as we build the calendar, we just take that into consideration, because if, you know, we could always use it as a professional development day. We could, because we don't even have enough of those.
I couldn't believe, sorry, I don't know if it was my turn to talk or not. When I moved here, I was shocked that the schools were open during Election Day, and our school buildings where I teach are closed on Election Day. I know for a fact tomorrow I will have probably at least 3 or 4 people walk into my room asking where the booths are to vote. And I'm on the other side of the building where the booths are. So even though we have amazing police and staff that help out with that, people get lost and they wander around the building. So I love the idea we use all those days as professional development days, which, as Lori said, you can never have enough. So and I also have a child in the school, then I think about that every time Election Day rolls around. So
We will definitely make that an important part of our discussions in the calendar committee. I'll have Lynn Christensen meet with us also. And so we will certainly modify the calendar for next year to incorporate the election days.
Thank you. Thank you. I just have one more thing too, so. Oh, I just turned it off. So, Representative Rosemary Rung reached out to me because there's a new law requiring on all student IDs to have suicide information. And I didn't know if we are in compliance or we're just getting ready to do that.
We are making some modifications to make sure that we are in compliance. We had some ID cards printed. They did not have the number on them, so we're kind of making a modification to those right now.
Thank you.
Any new business? Naomi.
I wasn't sure if I should say this under new business or when we talk about policies in a minute, but because we're talking about policies in a minute, I wanted to circle back to our strategic planning meeting and goal number 5, which was to create a policy committee, because seeing these come up made me think, hey, maybe we should get going on that. So yeah, I don't know what the best way to address that is, but I would like us to address it.
So I know that Bill and Sandy are critical to that subcommittee. So I think we can discuss via email who wants to serve on that, along with whoever on the district side wants to serve with that. But I totally agree, especially because there was a policy that I brought up at our agenda meeting that we as a board need to discuss regarding public comment time and being in compliance with the new law on that. So yes, we will by email decide who's going to be on that subcommittee ASAP. And I know that'll make Bill happy.
Yes, it's usually not one of the more favorite subcommittees that members serve on, but it's probably one of the most important. And you'll notice a commitment by us to bring forward policies that either need to be revised or new policies, because some of them are substantially outdated, and we want to make sure that we're meeting the spirit and intent of both federal and state statutes. So there'll be a string of new policies coming up in the future.
And that's a great segue right into policies. We have 2 new ones tonight.
Well, we are asking you, probably the process is to waive the first reading of both of these. As I said, we're committed to reviewing and updating our school district policies. The first policy is the change of class or school assignment, sometimes known as the best interest statute, that is passed by the New Hampshire legislature. It allows students to, if the superintendent feels that an alternative placement other than their school district of residence is in the child's best interest, then the superintendent brings that to the school board and negotiates with a receiving school district. This is a statute that is very important. Every year, or the last year and this year, there have been 1 or 2 requests for a change of placement based on best needs of a student. Sometimes that evolves from a manifestation of a educational hardship or disability of some type. The policy that you see before you now complies with the statutory requirements. The second policy is the student records and access policy. We want to make sure that this one is updated also and approved. This is actually a policy that was discussed to some extent in the year 2018, but was never presented to the school board for review and adoption. We don't know why, but it needs to come back to you, and that's why we're bringing it back to you right now. So I guess the process that we followed in the past is to waive the first reading, have a 2-week period or so devoted to public comment. We share any public comments with you, and then a second reading and adoption. So that's where we are with this policy, and I hope you'll agree to move forward with them and waive the first reading and solicit public comment.
Any comments from the board? Lori?
A couple things. So on the student records and access, first of all, I want to say, in the past, I've been somewhat critical of the writing of some of the policies. This policy is very, in the past, I was a little critical sometimes of the writing of the policies. This policy is exceptionally well written. The only exception that I have to this one is when we go down to directory information, the weight and height in members of athletics teams. I would take exception with that. I think that we can omit that in this day and age. I think there's enough information, but I don't think we need to include someone's height and weight. So
I understand what you're saying, Lori. The only reason it's in here is because that's what the statute says in terms of directory information. I have to be honest with you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's what the statute includes. So, but I'll
So
take
Bill,
your
I
word.
looked on the national website and theirs is very similar, but they do not have the height and weight on the national one. So I was wondering if we could get a legal opinion on that, because I did research it just to be sure, because I knew it must be a legal situation, but I just thought if legally we could admit that, I would definitely admit it.
Yeah, completely understand.
Yeah,
And then
and
my
it's-
only other, when we go to page 3 of 7 of student records, when we say when a parent, if we can always just do parent/guardian, because so many families do have guardians, and that's the only things I have on student records.
And while we're talking about this policy, I just want to say that parents should be aware that it says within the first 3 weeks of school each year, the district will provide notice to parents and eligible students. That came out today, I believe. Yes. I believe I got it today. So, all of this policy is literally directly applicable to something that came out today. So it's important to look at.
Any other comments from the board?
I found a couple of little typos that I would be happy to email to you. I don't need to necessarily read them out here. And then my questions were, let's see. Oh, I was wondering about the height and weight thing. I don't know what sports teams we have. I'm sorry, I'm not a sports person, but would it ever, with wrestling or something like that, would it ever be necessary for athletes in weight classes
Not
and
to
stuff?
print
Or
it, like, that would be a
Okay.
private, confidential, students have to get weighed and they're in certain weight classes.
well, but what was it? Oh yeah, I see. It says to publish it. Got it. Got it.
Good
Let me-
question.
No, it's. There was something. Oh, so I don't know if I'm reading too much into this. Under procedures to seek correction of education records on page 3, there's a first level decision where the parent or guardian or student finds an item that they want to be corrected. They submit it in writing to the superintendent, and then the superintendent can either say yes or no. And then later on in the process, if the principal believes, to the principal first. It goes to the principal first. If the principal believes that the record shall not be changed, he shall provide the requester of a copy of the question records at no cost. And 2, ask the parent/eligible student to initiate a written request for the change, which will be forwarded to the superintendent. I'm wondering if there's some reason why that's twice, because they do that up above. They initiate a written request to the principal. And then if the principal's telling them no, it says they ask them to initiate a written request about it to the superintendent. The wording on that was just confusing to me, and I wasn't sure if there was logic behind it that I wasn't understanding or not. And if that's too hard to answer in a meeting, don't answer it in a meeting.
Part of this policy goes back a number of years. I'll do a little research on that to respond to you.
And that was it. Thank you.
Any other comments on these two policies? All right, so as Bill stated, our policy is to waive reading, but they are published on the school board website. If you would like to read them as members of the public, we will provide these on the website for our next meeting as well for you all to look over. And if you have any public comments, you are welcome to come and share those with us. And then the following meeting, we will be, depending on if there are any further comments or corrections, we will vote to adopt.
So Lori, am I correct that in the past, I think we've done a motion to waive the first reading to at least officially begin the public review process?
I think you're right, Bill.
Okay.
So I will entertain a motion to waive the first reading.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Ken,
I'll second.
second by Jenna. All those in favor? Aye, 500.
Thank you.
All right, approval of the minutes. July 25th, 2022, non-public minutes. Yes.
Louis, was that motion for both the policies?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's okay. Anytime. All right. Approval of the non-public minutes of July 25th, 2022. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes? So
make
moved
a
by
motion.
Ken. Second by Lori. Any comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 500. Approval of August 23rd, 2022 public and non-public minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Naomi. Second by Jenna. Any comments? Corrections? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstained? 401. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Educator resignations.
We have one resignation tonight. Alexandra McCafferty has resigned her position as a fifth grade teacher at J Muse, and we wish her well. We have several nominations for you to consider tonight. Sarah Deemers becoming the new school counselor at Merrimack Middle School. Katrina Sylvia, social studies teacher at Merrimack Middle School. Kimberly Sinfonico, preschool teacher, Thornton Ferry Elementary School. And Sam Perrin joins the social studies team at Merrimack High School.
Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I will make a motion.
So moved by Ken. I'll second it by Lori. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
500. All right. One of the blessings of being up here is the acceptance of gifts and grants.
Yes, and in Matt's absence, and we hope he is feeling better, I'd like to recommend to you your acceptance of a $1,000 donation from the Merrimack Friends and Families to the Merrimack School District.
Do I have a motion?
I will
Moved
make a motion.
Moved by Ken. Second by Jenna. Any comments from the board? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We accept it. 500.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to committee reports. Do we have any?
None.
The Professional Development Committee will be meeting this Thursday at 3:30. So there will be that report in the next meeting that we have. All right, correspondence. Start with Jenna.
I received some correspondence from a parent concerned about an issue at the high school, and I just referred them to the proper people to speak with.
Lori.
I also had a parent who reached out just about the most recent school board meeting and test scores. And my conversation with that parent was we are aligning curriculum, and we're well aware of our due diligence, and we're committed to make those changes.
And I had a couple outreach to me about a concern regarding a teacher at the high school, and that was forwarded on to the proper people. Any other correspondence? Comments from the board?
I'll just real quick, since I wasn't able to make the majority of the last meeting and going over the test scores that we've talked about a lot tonight. And I'm usually one of the first people to sort of not downplay test scores, but they're a metric, but I don't believe they should be the metric for a good school. But even I was kind of taken aback by them, and realizing that everybody is experiencing the exact same thing right now. I applaud administration for this has to be a number one. Safety and this have to be the number one priority right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we fix that, because we need to.
Jenna.
I just want to say thank you to the district for doing this new thing this year where all students all students who transitioned had the opportunity to start 2 hours before. I know it was probably an inconvenience for some people. I know that there were people who were probably inconvenienced, but the feedback I heard overall was, wow, how thoughtful of is that of the students. When I told some of the people in the district I work in, they were like, wow, that's amazing. And I don't know whose idea it was. I don't think it was ours. It came from somewhere. It doesn't matter. I think it was a really great opportunity. And I got a lot of feedback from parents of kids who did transition who said it was a game changer. So I hope that's something we'll look to continue in the future.
That's good to know. I did that in my former district. In Westford, we actually had a full day, but we were kind of searching on how to do that, and so that's when we came up with the 2-hour delay, and we reviewed that with the leadership team at our last meeting, and the comments were very favorable, and so we look forward to building that into the calendar for next year again.
Any other comments from the board?
I'll just real quick. It's again, I wasn't able to say it last meeting. The school year, the start to the school year, I've described it as it's like you watched your favorite movie growing up 100 times and you know it by heart, and then you haven't watched it for 20 years, and then you finally watch it again, and all those feelings come back, and that's what the start to this school year has felt like. It's just been such a positive, great. To see not just all the kids in my neighborhood coming home off the bus, smiles on their faces, ready to go, tired, which is awesome. And it's just been so awesome to have things start off the right way. So thank you again to all the teachers and administrators for your hard work. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you. I'll pass that along to the staff. Appreciate it very much.
I was also not here for the last school board meeting, but I had read the scores and saw what was coming. And I appreciate the brutal honesty. I think for a long time, we don't want to accept that we have a problem, or we'll think about it for just the moment that we see it in the rankings, and then we just kind of move on because we know we have good faculty. We know we have good staff. We know we have great kids. But yes, this was kind of like, we can't ignore this. And I appreciate that it's at the forefront of what you and the leadership team are doing, so that this town can hold the leadership team and this board accountable for making those steps towards correcting the direction.
Please know that it will take some time, but we're committed to continuing to move forward.
All right. Do we have any public comments on agenda items? Well, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Jenna, seconded by Ken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye passes with 500. Thank you and have a great evening.